there just a certain percentage of people that will inevitably drop out because they don't understand this? Or is there something you can give them to understand that that's the progression that they kind of have to go down?
So it's something that we'll probably go through. So to answer the first question, I think there will always be people who don't succeed in anything, period. The people who don't succeed at college and kindergarten, like people will fail. But in terms of us being able to increase the likelihood that more people succeed, yeah, we're going to continue to do that. And so I think a big split in the road that we talked about in the very beginning that I think we might change in terms of how we're thinking about things was in the very beginning, we didn't want to give any very specific instructions because we didn't want to cage people in. But by not giving very specific instructions, saying here's all the different options that you can take, some people, to your point, get overwhelmed. And so it's kind of this balance of like, we didn't want to create a million schools that are the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But people who are new need really specific instructions. And so we have a plan that we're already kind of we're working on right now to probably have something that's like, if you are a true beginner, just do this. If you're everyone else, here's all the different options.
I love that. And I think it's potentially necessary, right? Because your first community is a burnout community anyways.
Yeah, it's like your first business. You have no idea. I mean, and mind you, I say this with like 54.1% of people are making money on paid communities. So like, it's good.
But what I'm trying to say is the first community you'll have is not the ultimate community that you'll stick with.
Yeah. People are like, hey, I remember somebody was like, I'm starting a community about this and no one's opting. I think I need to improve my offer. I was like, I just think no one cares. Like there's these little slivers of community, but like if no one cares about unboxing, I don't know, whatever, something crazy, then it doesn't matter how good the offer is. Like no one cares.
And I think, but I think many don't even come to the point where they're like, I think nobody cares, but reality is like there was never any traffic.
They never tried.
Yeah, I would love for everybody to at least like say, okay, now that I've set up all this community, let me at least put $100 into Facebook ads and see what happens. But that's also a shift to get there. Talking about the improvements that you make on the platform, what are some of the are you involved in kind of those features like the cancellation process and all of the refinements?
It's more like Sam, so there's this big list of like stuff that will make people money, right? And every one of them has a cost and a benefit. And so the cost is the time that it's going to take that we can't do anything else from the engineering perspective to develop it and make sure it's really good. And the benefits, obviously, how much money people it's going to make. And so that list we pretty much know. And we know, like, we kind of know what we need to do for the next 2 years. Now, mind you, one of the interesting things about Skool or any kind of platform is that if you change one variable, it affects all the others.
Yeah.
And so sometimes things that we think are going to be really, really important, after we fix something 2 steps earlier, it just is no longer an issue anymore. And so that list always has to be a breathing, living list. But in terms of the conversation that Sam and I have, that pipeline's pretty straightforward. And he and I will chat about like, what do you think about this feature versus this feature? And I'm like, I would wait here. Like I would put more weight on this one than that one. And so that's fundamentally like how we do it. But Sam really runs more of the product side. I'm chief bring people in officer. Okay. That's my hat.
Although you have a huge passion for product development, right?
But it's a divide and conquer thing. Like I can't get into his stuff, and he doesn't like talk to me about my content or how I'm going to do Skool integrations or like ads. Like Sam and I don't talk actually that much at all. Like we talk like every week for an hour or every other week. And maybe we'll Slack once or twice. Like it's, we don't have like, what's interesting is that the more proficient somebody is, the less interaction they require.
Yeah.
And so like I could receive the vaguest directive in the world, which is like, go build a business, and I can go do that because I have all the skills that are underneath of it. And Sam has the skill set to build a business, obviously, but also build an amazing product. And so when we were talking about doing this deal, it was like, hey man, I will just bring the world here. And he was like, cool, because I can't focus on that. And I was like, great. I was like, but I just want to know that you're going to make this thing exceptional. And I had faith that he would. And so that's very much, in my opinion, how a good partnership should work, is very clear roles and responsibilities and clear authority, which is like, I own the stuff on the marketing side, the messaging, and how we're, everything that really people touch before they get into Skool is I have a fingerprint on. Once they're in Skool, it very much goes there. Now we talk, it's like, hey, if you say this in the ad, it's going to affect people here or whatever. Like obviously we have that conversation, but it's really just having I mean, that's how it should work. And even within a business, like when you have a really good lead of X, ideally they can do it better than you. And because of that, there's nothing that you really need to tell them because they're more proficient at it. And so the only thing you really do is just communicate how their thing affects everyone else more than you tell them what to do.
So when you have a great business partner, I want to shout out Jessa Bellman, who's my business partner. She's like all on the graphic side, and she was my most successful student, and we teamed up. And we kind of also run parallel, right? Sometimes because we need not so much interaction, but sometimes it can feel like, for example, now I'm focused on the podcast, and I'm doing I'm pre-sold on Skool. A course, something that I'll later sell as a course. And it was a big kind of launch, and I'm delivering it. So sometimes I can feel like, one of us is pulling more of the load of the daily business. How do you like to kind of balance that or even communicate that? So, it feels like although we're pulling different weights, we're kind of both pulling.
So the constraint of the business is always going to shift. And so like Layla and I have this kind of joke, which is just like whenever I'm the constraint, she's relieved. And then whenever she's the constraint, I'm relieved. And so like right now we don't need more deal flow at acquisition.com, right? But if you are interested, go apply. But we have a lot of companies that are interested in what we do. And so all of what we're doing at acquisition.com is scaling up the portfolio team, scaling up subject matter experts, recruiting people that have big, great track records. And that's going to be more on her, right? Now I have my book launch coming up. So I'm always planning, like I always, like we joke is like Layla's living in the present. I'm always living like 6 to 12 months in the future. And so I just make sure that the future doesn't get too far ahead of the present in terms of how we're talking. But when it comes to a partner, I think there has to, I think this develops in years, not months. It's like Layla and I have been working together since the moment we met. I think it's 7 or 8, whatever it is now, years. And I've never once had a doubt of Layla's work ethic. And so, Warren Buffett talks about you want somebody who has really high work ethic, really high integrity, and really high confidence or intelligence, right? And so if you trust someone's intention and you trust their work ethic, then the only other variable is how competent they are. And so that's something that you can know, which is why you always want to, ideally you want to partner with someone better than you, always. Now they're going to so this is a good mental frame, is that you want to partner with people who are better than you.